Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. As always, a lot to talk about. NFL free agency begins this week, and the Steelers have made some decisions. We'll debate some of those. Also, NCAA tournament is coming to Pittsburgh. We'll talk about some of the things involved in that tournament and the future of Kevin Stallings. Where will he go? Who will come here? And who's going to pay him the money? But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Penguins, who bounced back tonight with a win and also saw some controversial plays this weekend. Here's your panel left to right on your television screen. We have Andrew Fillipponi, nationally known and locally owned. He's on CBS Sports Radio once a week, but he's also here, Cook and Pony Show 5 days a week. In the middle, it's Rob Cochran, the man himself from #1 Cochran. And to the right, it's Paul Zeise, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette columnist and, of course, host of the Paul Zeise Show on 93.7 The Fan. So let's get right into this, gentlemen, and we'll talk about the Penguins, who were victorious tonight. Casey DeSmith was in goal. Everything's going well. They have a lot of depth at a lot of positions. However, I'll start with you, Andrew Fillipponi, on this one. If Matt Murray, who continues to be out with a concussion, but we hope he's back soon, but if they go through a stretch in the playoffs where he's not there and he misses, say, a series, can the Penguins still win with these two goaltenders and Casey DeSmith and Tristan?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it all depends on matchups, but I mean, look at what Philadelphia's down to right now. If that was a first-round game, you know, they'd have Peter Mrazek or Brian Elliott in that if he gets back healthy, and to me, that would not be an advantage over what the Penguins have in Matt Murray and Casey DeSmith. I've just seen too many backup goalies step in, Bob, in steal series, whether it was Vasilevsky, who was great against the Penguins 2 years ago in relief for Bishop, or even what Halak did against the Penguins back in 2010. So I think they have so much talent around their goaltender that they could win a series without Murray.
I think obviously it would depend on who they're playing against. I don't know that they're going to beat, you know, Tampa or even Toronto.
Yeah, but how about Philly, Paul? I mean,
yeah, I mean, of course, that's what I said. It would depend on who they have to play. I mean, we're talking about the first round and they're playing Philadelphia. Okay, yes. If they're playing, you know, Washington or Columbus, who they seem to destroy their goaltenders, yeah. But I don't know that they beat, you know, a Tampa or a Toronto or one of those teams they're going to have to play.
How about New Jersey?
That would be a very interesting series because I don't know that these two guys would be consistent enough to win 4 games in 7 against a good team like that.
A lot depends on their defense as well. They have to really get more grit defensively, and we've seen that before in past years. So I think they can get by, but I think it's more on just a goaltender.
Yeah, well, it's all components there, and they've made it nice on their goaltenders at times. The question of depth is something we've tackled before, Rob. All right, Paul, I want to start with you on this one. Yesterday we saw that controversial play about goaltender interference with Brian Dumoulin. I think it changed the entire complexion of that game. 3-1 is a lot different than 4-0. The Penguins scored late, and they had the better of the play in the third, but that sequence of event changed the outcome of the game, possibly. So what is goaltender interference? Do you like this call? Do you think the NHL has a problem, not unlike what the NFL has, with what is a catch anymore?
It's an old joke, but I'm sure that a lot of Penguin fans were waiting to hear from Al Riveron after that game to find out what exactly is goaltender interference. It's really sad when you talk to, you know, when you listen to about 5 or 6 different analysts and they all have a different answer for what exactly is goaltender interference. Clearly, to me, that was not goaltender interference, but and the fact that they can't challenge it makes it even worse. I mean, I don't know. It's like a catch. I mean, I could sit here and tell you what I think a catch is, and then we watch 5 different games, and they're not a catch.
Bob, this is why I think it's analogous to some of the survive the ground stuff. If you can't tell with the naked eye, get it out of replay. Because when you slow it down and you look at it and it's not in real speed and you look at it for 5 minutes, I think your mind plays tricks on you. And it's the same thing we have in the NFL with some of these survive the ground, go to the ground, going out of bounds, at the goal line stuff. To me, it's got to get ruled on the ice. If the on-ice official can't tell that Brian Dumoulin trucked the goalie and ran him over, then it should be a goal. And I think it should go both ways. To me, what Pittsburgh did to Tampa in the playoffs 2 years ago, they got a gift with that offside call with the Drouin
just
play.
Like tonight.
Right, exactly the same thing. So to me, I got to be consistent there. I don't like the offside rule the way that it was enforced tonight, and I definitely didn't like what I saw on Saturday.
I don't mind the offside rule as much because you can at least see was he over the line or not, but this goaltender interference, there seems like there's, as Paul said, there's 5 or 6 explanations on it. Nobody knows what it is. They need to clarify that.
Well, Paul, you made it sound like you want more challenges in the game now. See, I think the more replay you get and the more challenges you have, it slows everything down.
Well, no, I don't want more challenges in the game, but the problem is that you can challenge so many different parts of what is a goal and what isn't a goal This would seem to be something that probably should be added to that list. But you know how I feel, Bob. It's, you know, I'm one of those guys that believes if you're not going to review every play, then don't review any of them unless they are so egregiously bad that you can see it in 10 seconds and say, okay, let's overturn that. They
need to minimize the replay. There's too much replay really in all sports right now, and it's killing the flow, killing the vibe of these games. And there's an energy depletion, and they need to fix that.
Now, that's a good point. I think the problem is it's so good now, it's only going to get better, Rob. And Andrew, we've seen it especially in football. The tighter you get, and you're right, the longer you go and watch. I mean, if you can't make a determination in 15 to 20 seconds, then to me it should be whatever the call on the ice is or whatever the call on the field is, correct?
Well, I just don't like the idea. See, to me, this is what happened. The NFL installed instant replay. In some ways it was popular because it turned into another controversial talking point. It gave you something in games that people discussed the Monday afterwards. And I think the NHL and the NBA and Major League Baseball all wanted to install their own replay system because they thought it was successful in the NFL. So they give coaches challenges. Clint Hurdle comes out and throws a flag. I mean, it's the same thing across sports, and I agree with Rob. I mean, to me, what kills a good game is when you have starts and stops. And we have too much of that across the board in sports right now. It is a global problem in professional sports. At no time in my life did I say, you know what is a real problem in the NHL? Getting offsides called correctly. And the NHL thought it was a problem, and it slows down games for 5 or 6 minutes at a time.
I got one quick question here. I need 30 seconds, real quick answers here. Rob, we'll start with you. The Penguins tonight became the team with the most home wins in the NHL. How important is home ice in the playoffs, considering they're not all that good on the road? Some people say it doesn't matter. Do you believe it does?
It's moderately important for them. They have had great success this year winning at home, but we know you look at the last couple of years, and they've been very successful on the road as a playoff team. So I think, all things considered, they'd like to win their division, but if it doesn't happen, I don't think it's critical.
Yeah, I don't think it's that critical because I think they can win most of their home games, and they only got to steal 1 or 2 on the road. It's not like they got to go win 4 games on the road. They win 1 or 2 on the road, they have a chance. So I think obviously everybody wants home ice advantage, but I don't think it's critical.
I don't think it is in the division, but I would want it for the crossover. If they got in an Eastern Conference final with Boston, Toronto, or Tampa Bay, I do think the setting of those games could end up being the difference. You know, they've gone on the road and they've won Game 7s against Washington like last year. But that was, to my understanding, that's the only series they've played as a road team in the last 2 years.
All right, interesting stuff. Penguins now will head to the road. Rangers on Wednesday, Montreal on Thursday. And have you heard about CochranOverstock.com? Well, it's where number one Cochran sells brand new vehicles for less when they have too many. Number one Cochran orders more than 12,000 new cars and trucks a year. So it's not surprising they end up with a few too many of some of their models. What is surprising is how little you'll pay for them. All brands, full manufacturer warranties, new inventory weekly. Save now at CochranOverstock.com. How'd I do, Rob?
Did well.
Thank you. We'll be back with Rob's favorite topic, basketball. It's next up right here on the Showdown. The number one Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by number one Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.